Welcome to this look at the map update for RIVERBIRD on Farming Simulator 19 with me, MrSealyp. I'm here on RIVERBIRD, the map by MHMI, 153.08 megabytes download. Now this had an update today, depends when you're watching this, but this is being recorded on the 14th of April 2021. The changelog, which should come up on the screen now, says fixed easy sheds and farm garage to be able to sell. Added new crops: rye, rice, coffee and mustard. Now rye and rice we've had on other maps. It was the coffee and the mustard that intrigued me, and I was curious to see what that looked like, how we seed it, how we harvest it. So I thought I'd come on and I suppose kind of do some testing in a way. Now I have also checked to see what the uses are for them. Now rye and rice can be fed to the pigs. Rye, rice and mustard can be fed to the chickens. The cows and the sheep remain as they are. As far as sell points go, if we go across to here and look at the end, we've got rye, coffee, rice and mustard. Here on this particular map, the Moorhen restaurant is where you sell all of those things. The fact that the coffee price is very high makes me think that it's going to be a low yielding crop. The mustard's not quite 1,000, but not too bad either. So what we're going to do is seed actually. We're going to seed half the field in coffee, half the seed in mustard, see what they look like as they grow, because I'm curious to see what they look like. Then we're going to harvest them. So as far as planting seeding goes, we use a regular seeder. If I scroll across, you'll see the seeders there, and at the bottom where it tells you what crops it will do, rye, coffee, rice and mustard are all put in with a seeder. Now the only exception to that rule is that if you go to planters, and we have got the Great Plains YP2425A, and that's the planter that does everything. And there are a few of those knocking about in the mod hub, but this is the standard in-game one. This one will also do the rye, the coffee, the rice and the mustard. So that's, you know, if you've got a few modded ones, fine, but as far as planters go, that's kind of, that will break the rules, so to speak. Harvesting, because these are put in by a regular seeder, when you harvest them with a regular header. So we'll have a look at that as well. So what I'm going to do now is jump in. I've already got it set on coffee. I'm going to set a worker off. I'm going to seed half the field with coffee, like I said, and the other half with mustard. What I'll do is I'll see you in a little while when they're growing, so we can have a look at them growing, what they look like. Obviously in the first stages it probably won't be very obvious what they look like, but as we get into the sort of the later stages of their growth, almost ready to harvest, we'll get a better look. So I'll see you in a little while when we've actually got some coffee and mustard in the ground. It's just gone 9 o'clock in the morning the next day. One thing I can tell you already, and it could be the map, I'm not so sure. Bearing in mind I planted the coffee first, then did the mustard. The mustard is at a further growth stage than the coffee. Now these obviously aren't ready to harvest yet, but just to give you an idea of what it looks like as it's growing, if we check the map, you'll see that the mustard is further along than the coffee, which is interesting. I'm not quite sure why that would have been, but it is. I assume it's just the coffee is a slower growing crop. So that's where we're at the moment. That's what the mustard is looking like. That's what the coffee is looking like. I'll see you when something else has happened. 5:10 now. The mustard does appear to have moved on. The coffee doesn't appear to have moved on. I mean, yeah, it looks thicker further over, but as you move over towards it, it's not. It's all pretty much the same. If we check the map again, you'll see the mustard is on very dark green. The coffee is a little bit behind. Did I say coffee? Yeah, the mustard and the coffee. So the coffee is a little bit behind here. I'm anticipating by the morning the mustard will be ready to go. The coffee I don't think will be. So I'll probably see you in the morning. So 24 hours has passed, or over 24 hours, because I was into the second day. This is into the third day. As you can see, well, so as you can see, the mustard has gone through. Midnight it was ready to harvest, around midnight, 1 o'clock. So it's gone on to the next stage now. I've got plant withering turned off. I'm going to leave that because I'm curious to see, because the coffee just doesn't seem to want to get into that final growth stage. It has grown a bit more, but it's still sitting looking like it was at around midnight when I last checked on you. I have got the growth set on fast. So it just goes to show that the coffee is definitely growing a lot slower than the mustard seems to be. Now, I don't know if that's an anomaly, whether it's supposed to be, because obviously this is only available on this map. We shall see. I will skip ahead again and we'll see when the coffee is ready to harvest. Then I'll do both of them. But the mustard definitely is ready now. Another 24 hours has rolled around. Now, unless there is a problem with these, they have gone to another growth stage. We can see that. If we check the map, let's go back to where we were. We're on a darker green now, but still not ready to harvest. I think I'm getting an inkling as to why the price for the coffee is as high as it is. Because of the time and energy taken in producing it, the price is commensurate with that time. I could have done 2 mustard harvests in the time it's taken for the coffee to grow. If I go back and check the map again, there are fields all around that have been through a couple of growth cycles already on the AI in the time it's taken the coffee to grow. So that could be the reason. Now, I think, judging the rate this is actually growing, these are going to be ready to harvest probably in the dark. I've got a funny feeling it's going to be late on. If not a problem. But if it is, then we'll harvest tomorrow morning. But yeah, I think that's probably the reason why. But they are growing. They're definitely growing. Just haven't got to where we're ready to harvest yet. But that will be 3 full days. And like I say, I'm on the standard game, no seasons, nothing like that. Fast growth, and it's just taking that long for the coffee to grow. Who knows? I'll maybe see you in another 24 hours. We're there. We made it. What, we day 3? We've got coffee beans. Look, you can see the coffee beans. We've got proper like stalks. And there are definitely beans on there. So, to the other end of the field, let's harvest. Now, like I said, regular headers. I'm going to do a strip up. I'm going to come in just a little bit, so I may leave a little bit. We'll do a strip up the field of each. Now, this is not a side-by-side comparison. Like I say, I could have done 2 mustard harvests in the time it's taken to do this one. There's a little bit missing off the end here. But I'm curious to see what the yield is like and also what the coffee beans look like. Almost a kind of burgundy, rich, chocolatey kind of colour. Yield, I have to say, is amazing. I really wasn't expecting that. Actually, what I'm going to do is just stop there a second. Let me just check something. I'll say, I thought I'd double check. I didn't think there'd be a straw swath with this because it's more of a stalk, almost like a little mini tree. But that is incredible yield. So maybe you've got a bit of both. Because of the time it takes for them to grow, you get a very good price, but you're also getting a very good yield as well, which means they probably are worth the wait for doing coffee and coffee beans. That's what they're looking like. Yeah, I mean, that is filling up really quickly. Nearly a full grain tank, and I haven't even done a full strip of the field yet. That's pretty impressive stuff. So once we've got a full grain tank, we will stop. We will empty into a trailer. Apologies for going over the stalks, but what we'll do, pop that there. Bear with me a second. Let's get some mustard done and see what the yield's like on the mustard. I'll be honest, the yield just, it's hard to tell. It doesn't seem as high to me, but that's what our mustard seeds look like. I think it's just interesting to have different crops, isn't it? That's the thing. even if you're using the same machinery to plant them, seed them or harvest them, it's something a bit different. What it leaves behind is a little bit different too, with regard to kind of residue on the ground. Yeah, when we get to the same point, we're not going to have a full load, are we? So yeah, the coffee is worth the wait, I guess, is the thing. I want to see what these look like unload. I mean, well, it's not going to be any different in particular to anything else, but just curious to see what they look like. It's going to look the same as it does in the harvester, I would imagine, but. That's our coffee. And this is our mustard. Very cool for both of them. So there you go, that's RIVERBIRD, well, the update that came with RIVERBIRD, with the rice, coffee and mustard. There was other stuff as well in there. It did say remake soil map for precision farming, added season support for the new crops, tweak husbandry food definition and added paintable grass texture. That was also in the changelog. I hope you found this useful and informative in some way, shape or form. If you have, please give us a like. If you don't subscribe yet, please do. If you want to leave a comment, feel free, and if you want to share this video, then please be my guest. Whatever you should choose to do. Thanks for watching.